iRacing has released a brand new development update outlining what's coming in the next build, as well as stuff that they're working on. Some of the stuff that we didn't even know about, like new cars, new tracks, they're moving to an entirely different rendering engine. There's a whole bunch of stuff that's happening. I've gone through the entire development update and summarized it, picked out the best bits that you need to keep an eye on, and we'll go through it right now. So there's like 3 weeks until the next build of iRacing when a bunch of updates get released, and yeah, this development update goes through a bunch of stuff that they're working on and explains behind the scenes what they're doing and what to look forward to in the future. For starters, iRacing has hired a bunch of new people, and some of them are coming from apparently other really strong companies and graphics providers and sim racing companies. There's a lot of really interesting hires here. There's no names, but they sound cool. In terms of this update, I'll go through the stuff that we're expecting this build, which is in 3 weeks, so very soon, as well as some stuff that will be happening in the future. Not so distant, or maybe distant, we'll have to see. For starters, there is a new track. Well, some of these tracks have been announced, I should say, but this track is Cadwell Park. It is in the UK, and it is mostly a bike racing track. There are some pretty crazy corners. It's got a really crazy middle sector and a last sector, including this weird uphill chicane with like a jump. If you go too fast, your car will like go off the ground. It's kind of scary. You may have driven this track in Project Cars or in AMS2, where it is in, I've driven an F1 car around there. It's bonkers. But it's coming to iRacing and it should be a lot of fun. This track uses something called broad maps, which is apparently new technology that iRacing is using. Don't know how it works. Basically, they've used drone footage and a bunch of stuff, and it apparently makes the graphics look better. iRacing is also updating Spa-Francorchamps. They've redone Spa with a bunch of the new changes. There's like a whole bunch of stuff to the track, because the existing Spa scan is from like 2012 or something ridiculous. All the driving surfaces will be new. There are some assets that they're taking over from the previous version. Another good thing is that when this releases in iRacing, the old version of Spa will stay in the game, so you can play both. Also, you get it for free if you already own iRacing, which is good. Unlike Watkins Glen, for example, where when they updated Watkins Glen, they deleted the old version of Watkins Glen. I miss you, old Watkins Glen. But yeah, old Spa will still be there. Also good news for Spa is that iRacing is working with Spa on the future updates to the track. So apparently there will be more updates to the track in the future. And if they do happen, iRacing will get the inside scoop and be able to update the scan really quickly, which is pretty cool. I don't think I've heard iRacing doing that with other tracks in the past, apart from like NASCAR tracks and stuff, of course. So that's definitely interesting. In terms of new cars for the next build, we have the BMW M4 GT4 Evo. This is a GT4 car. It's kind of fun. It will pretty much replace the existing M4 in the sim. Both of them will be there, but like in all the GT4 series, you'll get to race this new GT4 car. A couple of really cool sim races. Jimmy Broadbent Super GT raced this in Nürburgring 24-hour, so you can drive it on your own in iRacing if you want. There is a new GT3 car, the McLaren 720S GT3 Evo. It is pretty good. The previous McLaren in iRacing is very old now. Honestly, this car should be fun. In ACC, it was known for having really good aero. It'll be interesting to see how it goes in iRacing. When it drops with this new build, which is in like 3 weeks from now, we'll be covering it on this channel, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. I'll be driving it on launch day and giving my impressions of it. There's also a new car that's coming. It's the mini stock car. It's a little stock car. It's got both asphalt and dirt configurations. It'll be a little rookie car. We'll see more on launch about how it drives and what it sounds like. There's some updates to rain. The main one is that there is a new type of rain that they're calling spotty rain. At the moment in iRacing, pretty much you can decide when the rain starts and when it stops, and it's like it's either on or off. It's either raining or it's not raining. And spotty rain will be good. It will be kind of like raining a little bit, like drizzling on and off, which is a lot more like real life, a lot more dynamic. I think this will be really good. They're also adding rain tires to the TCR cars, the Clio and the old Mustang. This means that we'll get rain racing in like a couple of series. I think the Michelin Pilot Challenge is probably the main series, and also the Nürburgring iRacing series, I think is what it's called. Although basically the endurance racing Nürburgring series that iRacing runs will have rain now. Another interesting change in the next build is that qualifying will be opened up in terms of visibility. You'll still be driving on your own on the track, but if you jump out of your car, you can actually spy at all the other drivers while they're doing their laps. This means that you can see if other drivers are doing some sneaky stuff like tire warming, or like cutting the track or stuff like that. They shouldn't be able to do that, but you'll be able to see it. And it also means that you can watch other people and you can see if they stuff up on their qualifying lap, and then you can jump into chat and you can roast them for it if you want. You shouldn't do that, but you can if you want. There is also a new splitting system that iRacing is trialing for the next build. It's not being fully implemented, but it is based around multi-manufacturer and multi-class races. Basically like multi-class like IMSA, and also like the GT3 Sprint series, which has different cars racing in it. Sometimes you see in the GT3 series that one car is like the meta car or super OP, and basically on a top split, everyone will just be running that car. It'll be like a split full of Porsches. Likewise, in some multi-class races, you'll sometimes see certain classes being prioritized over other classes. For example, in the Daytona 24, where you have like 40 million teams signing up for GT3, but only a few teams signing up for LMP2. What this means is that if you're racing in like second split, the GT3 strength of field could be 7,000 iRating, but to fill the grid with LMP2s, the LMP2 iRating strength of field might be like 3,000. So the skill difference can cause some issues. We'll have to see if this splitting system is good or not. We might see some things like in the GT3 Sprint series, you might see drivers with lower iRating being bumped up a split if they're driving a car that's underrepresented. So we'll have to see if this is good. There will be an event with this new splitting system in week 13. You'll get a little special I tested achievement in iRacing, which is like really hard to get. So you should do it if you're interested. As for some other changes to series, there will be a new road course series for the Legends car, which will be sick. I 100% promise you, you should definitely do it. It'll be awesome. And they're also opening up the Rainmeister series to all GT3 cars. You don't need to just use the Ferrari. The final change they're making is that they're changing the rookie series so that Formula V and Formula Ford now run every 30 minutes on like alternating 15-minute slots. So basically, there will be a rookie road series running every 15 minutes all day. It'll be crazy. It means if you're a rookie, you can jump into a race, get crashed, go on the internet, complain about getting crashed into, and then sign up for another race every 30 minutes or 15 minutes if you want. It'll be wild. We'll see how it goes. So that's the next build of iRacing, which is happening in 3 weeks. But let's talk about some future stuff. Firstly, the tire wizard himself, Dave Kamer, is hard at work developing a new force feedback system for like calibrating your wheel, which is cool. And they're also working on a new contact patch model for the tire. What this means, we still don't know. For example, things like flat spots aren't really simulated correctly in iRacing, so maybe this will fix that. It probably won't, but it might. We'll have to wait and see. iRacing is also working on building the sim in DirectX 12. Now, this is a new graphics engine. I don't understand how engines work unless they're internal combustion, but apparently this will allow better graphics, all sorts of stuff. It is early days, but it is interesting to see. In terms of future updates to content, Zolder and New Hampshire are getting art updates, as well as all the NASCAR tracks at some point, which is pretty good as we head towards the NASCAR iRacing console game. Finally, in terms of upcoming content, iRacing has gone to the UK and they've scanned Croft and Thruxton. These are both very fun BTCC tracks, and they're also going to be scanning Valencia, and they're in touch with Assen as well, which is a really cool track, and we have to thank some cool fans on the internet for getting them in touch. In terms of new cars, iRacing is apparently working on multiple new GT3 cars in planning and development. What these are, we have no idea. It could be the secret Toyota Lexus GT3 car that's being created. It could be the Aston Martin Vantage. It could be the Lamborghini Huracan Evo 2. That's pretty much all the options, actually, unless they do like an NSX or like an old GTR, or there's probably more cars. There's like so many GT3 cars, but we'll find out at some point. The final update I will give is in my Aussie Pride section, and that is that iRacing has scanned the Bend Motorsports Park, and they're planning on scanning the Adelaide Street Circuit in November. The Bend is a really cool, really well-designed bit of road. It's got some really fun corners. It does look like you're driving on the moon, to be honest. It's definitely not the most scenic of tracks, but it should be fun to drive on. The Adelaide Street Circuit, though, is an absolute banger of a track. F1 used to race here, of course, but iRacing, I'm sure, will be scanning the updated, shortened supercars version of the track. This track is sick. Another street circuit for iRacing. It'll be so much fun. I can't wait. The final bit is that the Gen 3 supercar is on the way. Apparently it was going to make this build, but it didn't. This is a car I race a lot of, so I'm very excited for the new supercar. We'll have to see how it races in iRacing. At the moment, the current supercar is the same, both the Ford Mustang and the Holden Commodore. And the new one, they have like different engines and stuff. So we're gonna have to see how they kind of deal with that in sim, but we'll see. Not next build, but maybe later. That is the iRacing development update. This build is coming in 3 weeks. It's not very long. I'm going to be driving it on launch. I can't wait. It should be lots of fun. Let us know below your thoughts if there's something that you're excited about or something that you're not excited about. One of the things I keep thinking is like, are we running out of tracks? Like, what new tracks are they going to scan? Like, how many more racetracks are there in the world? But actually, there's a lot of racetracks. So anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. If you like the video, leave a like, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.